Hi, everybody. It's really late. I should definitely be asleep. I look awful, but I had this idea and I needed to film it or else I was gonna go a little bazonkers. So I'm supposed to be filming a video right now, and I filmed everything except the last book I need to read, and my mood reader self is just like, I cannot read this book right now. So I came up with this really fun way to decide the next two books that I'm going to read. And even though I'm in a very mood reading mood, I think that this is going to work for me because this idea now is stuck in my head and I want to fulfill it. I'm going to pick the next three books in my TBR based on random generators. You will see what I mean in just a second. So I am in front of my TBR shelf, which is looking a little messy. I need to clean it up, but I'm going to be using mostly my Goodreads TBR shelf for this, just because I think it'll be a little bit easier. And also it'll be a little bit more fair within like which books I'm picking, because in this one my highest TBR is at the top, and if I start looking there, I'm gonna always be looking I'm gonna be looking at the same books first for all of this, and I can't have that happening. So first I am going to go to my physical TBR shelf on Goodreads. I have 68 books on it, and I'm gonna sort it by just day added to the shelf. So I'm going to put on Google a random number generator between 1 and 68, and we're going to see what we get, and that is going to be the first book. Okay, is everybody ready? And generate. 51. Okay, let's see what the 51st book is. Onto my physical TBR shelf. Oh my gosh, I'm going to have to count these now. Okay, whatever. 51. 51, right here. And that is Only When It's Us by Chloe Leese. Okay. I have the new covers of this that just came out. I bought these because I read one Chloe Leese novella and I loved it for Christmas. And I've heard really good things about this series. And luckily, we landed on the first book in the series, so I don't have to read out of order. So this will be our first book on our TBR. Yay! The next one is where things are going to get a little bit more subjective and not as exact. Okay, so you may not agree with me, but we're rolling with it. Okay, we're going to go with, and also I'm going to sort my Goodreads shelf in some different way. So this time we're going to sort by average rating. Yeah, that's what we're going to do. Average rating. We are going to do a random color generator, and I am going to let that, I'm going to look through my Goodreads shelf, and the one with the first one I see with that color somewhere on the cover, we're going to read. So I'm just going to look up random color generator, pick the first one, and I think it's going to show a color right away. So I want to show you guys. Moss gray. I don't know if you guys can see this. It says moss gray, but it kind of looks like army green to me. Okay, we're gonna compare. Let's look. I feel like Simple Wild, maybe. Let's grab Simple Wild. I do think that those are pretty perfect. I think those greens are basically the exact same, if I'm being so for real. Okay, okay. I think those are like literally the same color. Let me turn my brightness up. Yeah, no, same exact color, same exact color. So our second book on our TBR is The Simple Wild by K.A. Tucker. This one is another romance, so I'm really crossing my fingers for a not romance for the next one, because that's all I've been reading lately, and I feel like I need to be expanding my genres. So maybe in this next one, if we get a romance, we'll pick the next one. Because romances are the majority of what my TBR shelf is, so it makes sense that I would land on them. But for this next one, if we get a romance, we're gonna pick another one. Okay, and then my last idea was to do a random letter generator and pick the first book on my TBR with that letter. Okay, so again, we're going to do the same thing. I'm going to pick it and show you guys. H. H. We're going to sort this another different way this time. So let's do let's do date added again. H. 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 Look with me. It has to start with that letter, not just have that letter in it. H. 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 Hunting Prince Dracula. That's the second. Also, we got lucky again that it picked the second book in a series and not the third, because that's what I have to. That's the next one I'm at. Okay, y'all. That's what we're reading. Oh my gosh, I'm kind of nervy about that one. It's been a long time since I've read Stalking Jack the Ripper. So, Hunting Prince Dracula is the last one that we're reading for this TBR video. The first book in the series is Stalking Jack the Ripper, which I read 2 years ago, and I had a really good time with, so hopefully I'll recall enough of it to read this book. Alright, so there's the 3 books we're going to be reading in this video based on a random number generator, a random color generator, and a random letter generator. Okay, let's go.
From the airport, so it's like a very much like a book club mom book, and I was like, great, let's clock in. That sounds exactly what I need right now.
Alright, it's a couple days later, and I have not been able to read a ton the last few days because I've just been really busy with work, and then every single day doing something after work, doing things before work. I just have not had time to come home and read, but it's the weekend, and now I have found some time to read. I'm on page 157 of The Simple Wild, chapter 7. No, 11. I don't know where I got 7 from. I'm actually really enjoying it. It's a very slow paced book, like very slow. It's about this girl, Kala. Her mother married this man and had her in Alaska in this really, really, really tiny town. And he is a pilot, a bush pilot. And she goes back when she's 26 because her father gets lung cancer and she wants to see him finally before he maybe gets, really ill. And she meets this dude, Jonah. And right now they're like really not really vibing with each other. And it's about her trying to reconnect with her father again, living in Alaska for this little bit. It is very, very, very slow. If you don't like slow paced books, you're not going to like it. That's just how it goes. I do like slow paced books as long as it can keep my interest, and this one is doing that. I think the writing's pretty good. There's nothing like super special about it, but it's good. I'm invested in the story right now. I'm excited to see where it goes. I love people reconnecting. So I'm really excited to see where her and her father goes. I'm kind of liking the dynamic between her and Jonah right now. Jonah sometimes is a little bit iffy to me, but I think that the more I learn about him, the more I'm going to understand his intentions. So that's where we're coming from. I'm liking it so far. And it's also like my favorite color. Color generator, you're doing good so far. It's a few days later and I've been trying to find my microphone so I could film this part of the video and like continuing forward, but I can't find it. So I guess I just have to order a new one. I did finish The Simple Wild though. I ended up giving this a 4 out of 5 stars. I think that it had the potential to be like a 4.5, possibly even a 5, just because I was liking the vibes. Like I would not say by any means this is a perfect book, but I liked it. It's the kind of vibes that I like. It like takes place in nature mostly. But I will say that Jonah was still a little iffy to me even by the end. I just didn't fully get why he was such a jerk sometimes. Like at all actually. But it did make for good banter, so I will say that much. My biggest complaint with it though, y'all. Remember how I said that if you like slow-paced books, you're not gonna like this? I stand by that because the entire book is very, very, very slow, which I loved, until this much left, about 15 pages, 20 pages, and then it speeds by the last 2 chapters like insanely fast, and I was like, what just happened? I don't understand why they had to do that. I don't understand. Something happened, and it was mentioned in one sentence, and I was like, huh? And then something else happened, and it was mentioned in one chapter, and I was like, huh? And I was like, these are 2 huge parts of the book. How is the lead up gonna be so slow and like a good pace that I'm enjoying, and then the conclusion for it is gonna be within 10 pages? Anyways, I still gave it a 4. I still liked it. I think it was written pretty well. Again, nothing spectacular, but written well. I had a good time, so, except for those last 15 pages. What the? Ow, I'm bleeding. It scratched me. I gave you a good rating. I have now started Hunting Prince Dracula, and I am loving it. I'm 70, 6 pages in. I'm having a really good time. This takes place after the events of Stalking Jack the Ripper, and I just love Thomas and Audrey so much. I love their dynamic, so I am really excited to keep on reading through this. So, yeah. I don't know if you're gonna be able to hear me at all because of the rain and because I don't have a microphone. It is pouring. You can't tell. And I got done with prep work for work today a little early, so I'm sitting outside and enjoying my book in the rain because rain is my favorite weather. There was a car driving past. I wanted to make sure it wasn't my coworker who's coming in today. So I am 100 pages into Hunting Prince Dracula now, and I am having the time of my life. I freaking love Thomas and Audrey so much. So this one, the mystery is going really slow right now. We're 100 pages in, and like 2 people have died, but there hasn't been any connections made. There hasn't really been any development into the case yet, which is different from what I remember from Stalking Jack the Ripper. I feel like they kind of dove into the case pretty early on in the book, but I could be wrong about that. But I feel like for a first installment of a book, it dove in a little bit quicker. This one, we didn't have to have any new character development at the beginning. We already knew these characters, and it's just like starting a little bit slow, but as we've noticed in this vlog, I like slow books. So in this one, I'm not gonna give you any spoilers, but Audrey and Thomas are picking up on a new case. They are traveling to Romania to study at this forensics school, and they have to fight to get a chance to stay in the program. And she's, of course, the only girl there because she is that girl. And people are dying, and people think that Vlad the Impaler has come back, which is along the same lines as Jack the Ripper, being an already famous killer from the first book. Yeah, I'm having a really good time with it. My favorite parts about this book are definitely Audrey and Thomas's dynamic, which is the same as I felt in the first book. I felt like the writing was good, but not the best. And the plot was good, but also not the absolute best. But I gave it 4 stars because I just loved Audrey and Jack. Because I just loved Audrey and Thomas so much, which I kind of feel like may end up being the same in this, but I've heard a lot of people say this is their favorite book in the series. And so I'm hoping that maybe the plot will also be plotting, This one is gay. I love when period pieces turn gay. Okay, I am getting very close to finishing Hunting Prince Dracula. I'm on page 343. Yeah, and I just wanted to give the update that I just feel like nobody understands the love I have for Thomas and Audrey. Their dynamic is one of a kind. They had some things they had to get through in this book. Thomas wasn't using his brain for a little bit, but they got through it. Also, my pillowcase fell off with this last night. I need to put that back on. Please ignore it. I will say my only complaint about this book, because to me this is feeling like a 5-star read, is that this is a little long. Okay, this book is 450 pages, and there's a lot of words on each page. If this was a regular size paperback, it would probably be 550 pages. It's a little long, and I feel like the mystery could be contained to a shorter amount of pages, but I'm loving it, so that's not really an issue. It is 1:47 a.m. I just had a snack. I'm not tired, and this book is actually only 414 pages. I thought it was 440, and I'm on page 371, so I'm almost done with it. So I kind of think I just need to push through and finish it. Okay, let's do this. Okay, 2:30 a.m. I'm assuming you could tell from my reactions in the time lapse, but oh my god, I am just giggling and kicking my feet at Audrey Rose and Thomas. Giggling and kicking my feet. This was great. I loved it. I'm giving it 5 stars. I don't care if it wasn't perfect. It was perfect to me. Okay, it's the next morning. I am indeed at work. I did wake up, and I brought Only When It's Us with me. I'm excited to start it. I've got a little bit of time before my kiddos get here, so I think I'm gonna try to get in a chapter or two. I'm gonna be honest, my expectations were really high for this, but now I'm trying to lower them after finishing Hunting Prince Dracula, because like the romance of that was so good that I don't know. I feel like I need to lower my expectations a little bit. I know I'm in the same exact place I updated you for the last book. Let's pretend I go anywhere but my room. I'm currently 72 pages into Only When It's Us by Chloe Leese. I'm having a great time. I've said that a lot in this vlog, so I think this is going really well. So this one is about this girl named Willa. She is a soccer player at her college. I think they go to UCLA. Yeah, UCLA. She's a soccer player at her college, and when she's going into her business class, she sits next to this dude named Ryder, and he just like ignores her constantly, and she's supposed to be getting notes from him, and she immediately like doesn't like him because of that. But turns out Ryder is deaf and just could not hear her, and they end up having to work together for a project, and they're just like having this little thing that's happening, and I just think it's kind of cute. There's some quotes in this that I'm really liking. It's tackling like some discussions of grief, but not in the sense of like losing someone, but losing a part of your life that was really important to you. And I think that's and I think that's a really cool discussion to talk about. I think it's being handled well, about Ryder losing his hearing, and because he lost it like 2 years ago from the start of this book, and losing the fact that he used to play soccer, which is something that he loved. And I also can seriously understand Willa and her competitiveness, which you would think then bleeds into other parts of her life, but really she just like has issues speaking to people, and like having verbal disagreements, and like coming to conclusions with people about things because she is too nervous to talk about like anything. And like, I get it. That's me. All right, update. I'm on page 150. I do now have things that I don't like. Genuinely, why are these people not communicating? They have ways they can communicate. It's getting a little ridiculous. Also, like, why are they still thinking that the one's trying to prank them? I'm a little confused. Feel like this part should have been over by now. Weirdly, I think I'm gonna start liking this again once they start dating, which usually is not for me. If you know me, I am a slow burn girly to the core. But I think I'm gonna like this more once they finally get together. Because I kind of just think the reasons they're not together are not working for me. And within slow burn, I need the reasons they're not together to make sense, and this one doesn't to me. So that's where I'm at. What in the world? We are in St. Louis, Missouri. So of course, what am I wearing? My Percy Jackson shirt. You're telling me Percy Jackson jumped off that thing? I don't really know what Rick was thinking. He wouldn't even make the jump into the grass. He would land in the grass. That's crazy. Yes. What the heck? Oh. Yes. Oh, shoot. Oh, 7-5. We are in Missouri. We have one full day left, and then we're heading back the next morning, and I am still reading Only When It's Us. Yes, Only When It's Us. I'm 252 pages in, and remember how I said I was liking this at the beginning? I'm not anymore. I have less than 100 pages left, and I am very tempted to DNF it, but I'm not going to do it. I'm going to push through. But it's just gotten really annoying. They can't communicate anything, and I'm just wondering, like, why? So I'm going to try to push this tonight so that I can read a better book tomorrow. Not coming in. The entire Poppy War trilogy for $10 each. I already own the first one, but I'm going to buy the second too. I finished Only When It's Us last night, and I'm about to tell you how I felt about it, which, spoiler, not good. But first, all those videos you just saw of bookstores, me and Mom bought a lot of books. This is my mom. I don't think she's been on this channel yet.
I don't think
so. But we bought so many books. I did not need them.
We found 3 bookstores today.
We did not need these. And one
the other day.
And, okay, so first we can start with the one from the other day.
Okay, so these are from Missouri authors. I always try to get local authors. And this was a store called Skylark Bookstore. And so I got...
It was such a cute bookstore.
A beautiful bookstore.
Pretty.
So this is The Goodbye Line by Jill Orr. And this is it said it's kind of like a Janet Vanovich, like mystery, fun kind of humor. She lives here in Columbia. And I thought...
Lee Child has a review on this one?
Yeah, yes.
I didn't realize that.
And this girl is her best friend.
So cool.
They were like author besties. And this is called Arrowwood, and it looks kind of creepy, and it's I think it's going to be really good. I'm excited about it. Like Lost Twin Sister and all that.
Nice. Well, when I go into bookstores, I now have a list on my Goodreads that's like TBR books I do not own yet. And those are the books I'm
be on the lookout for.
Yeah, yes. I bought 8 books so far, I think, on this trip. None of them were from that list.
No.
Anyways, first I got Juniper and Thorn by Ava Reed. I've heard this one is so good, and I've been hearing more things about it lately, so I just decided to pick it up. I'd rather buy it from a local bookstore than,
agreed,
somewhere else.
Right.
And then this one I had never heard of before. It's called Mad About You by, she says how to pronounce it, Valerie McFarlane. And there was this girl from the store, and her name was Cora.
Yeah.
And I didn't take a video of this, but I'm gonna put a little photo right here of this thing she had about reading Emily Henry books, and it was so funny. And I was like, wow, this girl's me. And then I went around, and all the books I had read from her reviews were ones I loved.
Yes.
And
the criticisms even that she had on some were like, is she the same person as Scout?
She left a review for this one. It was like, all of this author's books are good. And then there was an Emily Henry review on the bottom, so I picked it up. And so, yeah. The first one I went to today was one that we went to...
in Fulton, which is like 30 minutes down the road. We went there to visit something for a project.
We went to the Winston Churchill Museum, which was also...
amazing.
Really cool. Like,
so cool.
For some reason
if you like history,
it was really cool. And they had a little used bookstore. I don't remember the name of it, but I took a video of it.
It was called Well Read.
Well Read Books.
Well Read
yes.
Books,
And it was all used. And first of all, they had the entire Poppy War trilogy. I took a video of this, but I already own the first Poppy War book, and I have not read it, and I've owned it for like 3 years. So this is going to convince me to finally get to it. But yes. They had the Dragon Republic and the Burning God, and they were only $10 each.
Yeah,
and
they're like
these
brand
books
new.
are $20 each to start with.
Yeah.
So like I got 2 for the price of 1, and they're literally brand new, like perfectly brand new.
And that first shop we went to, by the way, was not used. It was a new bookstore. But the other ones we found were all used.
Or like partially
And then
used,
we got Parable of the Sower by Octavia Butler because...
this is one that I was going to buy, and then I found these 2, and Mom was like, I can buy it. And so I put it in her hands.
Well, and I like Octavia Butler, so I would like to read this one too.
I got this on the recommendation of Books on the Wall, honestly. Yeah. The Peace Nook, which this was one I thought was going to be like a essential oil shop.
Yeah, metaphysical kind of shop.
Spiritual books.
Yeah.
But it was not. It was like a ton of new books.
Yeah.
And they were having, it was a fair trade
nonprofit
shop, and they were having 20% off all female authors for Women's History Month, and I decided to finally get Madeline Miller's little short story. I don't actually know how to pronounce it.
Galatea?
I
think.
Galatea.
I'm not sure though.
This is only $12 because it's a tiny little short story, but $12 still feels like too much for a book this tiny, so I have been putting off buying it. But it was only $9 with the 20% off, so I went ahead and got it. And Cersei, y'all saw my reading vlog of that. You know how much I love it.
And I grabbed this, The Great Failure by Natalie Goldberg. I'm a writer, and so I love to read about things from writers. And she wrote Writing Down the Bones, which is one of my favorite writing books. And this looks great from the reviews. Also 20% off because it was a female author.
Are these all books you got?
Yes.
From there? You got all these?
Yes.
I thought you only got 2 books.
I got all those.
And then the last one, which probably ended up being our favorite, Yellow Dog Bookstore. We did not think it was going to be good when we walked in. And I didn't get any video in there because it was really crowded, really cramped. Because they have all the nonfiction books first. And then we walked over to the fiction, and y'all, they had such a good selection.
Yeah, we kind of thought it was
really
going to just be like
books.
used books that weren't that good, like old maybe books, but it was great.
They had some really good books. I saw a girl pick up a brand new copy of A Court of Thorns and Roses, and it was only $8.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow.
And also the owner was super
nice
and knew what he was talking about.
Yeah.
Yes.
The first thing I got Bridgerton, the Duke and I. This is for a video that I'm going to be filming soon. And this was only 97 cents.
I think it was 92 cents. I think it was a 92-cent table. I wish I'd found more books on the 92 cent
I just bought The Viscount Who Loved Me the other day because I'm wanting to read the series for a video. And then I got The Magician's Daughter by H.G. Perry. I saw this at Barnes & Noble the other day. I think It's not in a vlog I've uploaded. It's in a vlog that I have filming. And I thought it sounded good, but I didn't buy it because adult paperbacks are too. I cannot spend $19 on a paperback at all. I cannot do it. And this was only $8.50, and it sounds so good. Yes. And then the last one is one I did not expect to get, and
will you ever read it? Because it's ginormous.
I feel like I'm a little bit crazy for buying it. But it's Our Share of Night by Mariana Enriquez, and it's very
huge.
Big. It's like 600 pages. And if it was paperback, it would be longer. But it's supposed to be a really good adult horror, and it's a translated book, so it was originally published in Spanish, and it sounds really, really, really good. And a bunch of people who I really trust the reviews have given this 5 stars, and the overall rating on Goodreads is like a 4.3, which is crazy high, especially for a horror. So I'm crazy excited to read it, but when will I? That's the real question.
Right.
Because look how huge it is. But also, it's so pretty. I kind of just want to have it on my shelves.
So this is just a book. I love to read about authors and books, and this is called Dancing with Mrs. Dalloway. It's the story of the inspiration of great works of literature. So it's got Great Gatsby in here, which is like
I didn't see
Old Man of the Sea, Sherlock, all these, and it's like where the stories came from, their inspiration for those books. I love stuff like that. Cool. Then, speaking of classics, this gorgeous copy of Wuthering Heights. Like,
so pretty.
Oh my gosh. And it was only $5. Like, look how beautiful that is. She showed me it
first, and I was like, I already have a copy of Wuthering Heights. It's really cool. And she was like, but do I?
Too, but I don't have a new pretty one.
Said, but do I have one?
And then Zadie Smith. Scott and I have been talking about how we've seen a lot of people talk about Zadie Smith, and I've never read any Zadie Smith, and I think she's kind of known as one of the better novelists. This was her debut, so I'm excited to read that. They had another Zadie
Smith there too. That was one of her newer ones, I think, but I didn't pick it up.
I don't even know what it's about, but
just grabbed it.
Looks good. And then funny, I'd already bought those 3, and then I saw this behind the cash register, and I said, "Ooh, is that for sale?" And the guy said, "Yes, it is." And that is the story life of A.J. Fickery by Gabrielle Zevin. I love Tomorrow. And also, he said he's always getting recommendations from people to read books about bookstores because he owns a bookstore, and he said this was beautiful. I said I wasn't going to spend any money on this trip. What the heck? I don't even know how much I've spent so far. I have not been getting receipts. I didn't want to see how much I've been spending. We need to see a picture of our book club of all these books. Every single time they were like, when are receipts? I was like, no. I don't. If you don't get a receipt, it didn't happen. Okay, I'm going to do a kind of quick wrap up on my feelings of Only When It's Us, because I kind of feel the same way that I felt near the end there. I ended up giving this a 2-star on Goodreads. It's closer to like a 2.5. And it's really upsetting to me because I really was enjoying the first part. I liked the talks of grief on things besides people. I thought it had some interesting discussion points, but then the romance just absolutely fell away, and it just was so annoying and upsetting the whole time. Yeah, just overall a pretty annoying romance. All right, I wanted to do a quick wrap up. It's really late. There are people above us in this place. Did we learn anything from this video? No. I picked books based off a random generator. Of course I didn't learn anything. But I did read a book that I would not have read, Hunting Prince Dracula, anytime soon, and gave it 5 stars. Loved that one. Read another book that I liked a decent bit. Read one that wasn't so good. But now we know. So yeah, thank you for tuning in and watching this video and watching me read and talk about all my thoughts and buy books and do all the things. Okay. Bye. See you next time.